Suicide bombings have killed more than a dozen people in Iraq in attacks that appear to have been carried out by Islamic State militants. The attacks come as Iraqi forces backed by the US-led coalition slowly gain the upper hand against IS in the northern city of Mosul, as Anne Barker reports.
Every year, thousands of Shiite Muslims make the pilgrimage to Karbala in Iraq's Shiite heartland to commemorate the 7th century death of Imam Hussein, Prophet Muhammad's grandson and an iconic Shiite martyr. In recent years, pilgrims have come under attack from Sunni militants, and this year was no different. 6 suicide bombers from the Islamic State group sneaked into the city, though only one managed to blow himself up. They came at 6:30 in the morning to start to kill people, says this villager, Abbas Farhan. Then the police, Iraqi military and intelligence came, and when he saw he was surrounded, he blew himself up. In a separate attack, 8 people were killed in a suicide bombing at Fallujah, the first attack of its kind since that city was recaptured from IS earlier this year. Both cities are a long way from Mosul, where Iraqi forces backed by the US-led coalition are embroiled in a protracted military operation to retake the city from Islamic State. But the attacks show that even as Iraqi and US-led forces liberate Mosul and other IS strongholds, the jihadist group is determined to show it's still a force in Iraq and Syria. In recent days, Iraqi soldiers have recaptured the town of Nimrud outside Mosul and the ruins of a 3,000-year-old Assyrian city that was bulldozed by IS when it seized the area 2 years ago. Nimrud was once the capital of an ancient empire that stretched from Egypt and Turkey to Iraq and Iran. But along with pre-Islamic religious sites like Palmyra in Syria, it was looted and almost destroyed. Iraqi army officers have told local television that IS militants were driven out of Nimrud's old city. Fighting was over in an hour and a half without civilian casualties, says Major General Dia Al-Sadi, the deputy commander of infantry troops. We tried to spare the lives of civilians. The residents of the towns were very cooperative, and they helped lead us to the hideouts of IS militants. But progress is slow as they try to avoid both civilian casualties and Islamic State attacks in suicide car bombs. Nearly 50,000 people have been forced out of their homes since the fighting began. Most are now living in refugee camps. We left because of the shelling, says this man. Our home was badly damaged. Everything was destroyed. In the town of Bashika, Kurdish forces showed how the jihadist group has booby-trapped local homes and built defensive tunnels linking houses underground. We came through this opening and they escaped out the other end, says one Peshmerga soldier. We went after them through the holes they made in the houses. We caught them. There were 5 and we killed them. In many towns outside Mosul, residents are returning and civilian life is already creeping back after 2.5 years of Islamic State rule.
Anne Barker reporting.